Welcome back. Power in Nigeria is both a dream and a nightmare. Petrol and diesel generators strum on every street. Pollution clouds our cities and businesses bleed money just to keep the lights on. But what if there was a better way? What if clean energy was not just an alternative, but a necessity for our survival? Joining me now is a man who has dedicated his life to answering that question, David Adewuyi, visionary renewable energy consultant, accomplished business coach, and CEO of the DVS Reliable Energy. He has over 15 years in business and entrepreneurship, and since 2017 has led more than 800 solar projects powering homes, schools, hospitals, and companies across Nigeria. Mr. Adewuyi, welcome to the beam.
Thank you, Mr. Sones. It's nice to thank you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having you. Let's get right into the questions. It's a very important topic. Why are there so many Nigerian businesses that are still running on diesel and petrol and fuel when solar energy is supposed to be cheaper and cleaner? What is really stopping us from this switch?
Well, I think solar energy is truly cheaper. What I think is causing the issue is fear of change. Fear of change. You know, people, Nigerians, when we are used to an old method of doing things, old method of having, electricity, the whole source of power supply, and there is a new source, a new thing. The fear of change, I think, is one of the reasons. Some think the initial cost is too high to having their own source of electricity, and then they also think, some people also think when they run on diesel, they tend to spend lesser, and that is not true. Thank you.
So can we really trust, solar energy to power factories, supermarkets and hotels in Nigeria, or is it just a PR talk? Basically, sometimes the things that happen and work in the West or in those very established nations are not the things that work back home here in Africa. Can we really trust them, to do the same work, in the same capacity?
In fact, we tend to enjoy solar power at this part of the world even more than those places you have mentioned. Solar power can actually do it for us here in Nigeria. It is working, it is doing it. Hospitals are being powered, factories are being powered, they are generating their own electricity. So it can really do it. It's not just a PR talk. It can generate electricity for factories, for businesses. Commercial and industrial solar system are taking the place right now, and it's the real deal, solving the problem of energy crisis.
Okay, then let's talk numbers. Let's talk numbers. How much money, can the average business actually save by switching from, fuel to solar in Nigeria? And are we talking small change, or are we talking real impact when it comes to the finances of these businesses?
Well, it's not just small change. Businesses tend to save a lot, depending on how much you've been expending on energy here too. So, but when we talk about savings, you tend to save a lot of money in millions. And the truth of the matter is you start saving from the day of commissioning. The day you the day you decide to actually make that boosted and generate your own electricity for a cleaner environment is the day you start saving money. A client walked up to us earlier this year and was spending about 1.5 million naira every month on electricity. Just when this Banhe issue started. But within a short period of time, between March and now, he has saved over 6 million naira on a 27 million naira solar project that he embarked on. So you tend to save. In less than 2-3 years after switching to renewable energy system, you would have raked back the money and you start saving. You can divert your expenses that you've already expended on diesel and maintenance to something else. So you're really going to save.
Yeah, so, but like you've just said, if a person is able to spend up to 1.5 million when it comes to electricity and, energy and all that in their businesses, then they might be somewhere between the upper average to the rich. And so people are saying, hey, sometimes we say it's just for the rich and the big people And the question is solar really out of the reach of the small businesses, and the little people who are just trying to survive within the daily things we see in Nigeria today?
Renewable energy is for everyone. The truth of the there is a solar power for every energy needs. So irrespective of your need, irrespective of how low you are, there is a system that is that falls in line with your need. There's a system that can meet your level. So depending on your energy needs, everyone can actually access, and it's already working. This is what is happening. So, and the beauty of renewable energy system is scalability, the scalability. So it is not until you start very big before you have access to it. So it's accessible to people who can afford to do the large scale on their small scale renewable energy system that can also meet their needs. So they are not left out.
Okay, so there are those people who are also skeptical about how long it takes for a thing like solar energy to really last. Some of them are also questioning how much of the technology do we know, or are we just running on the technology that other people have produced and we cannot really localize it in order to be very effective and efficient for the Nigerian people. So the question then becomes, how much can we trust that our technology understanding can work with what we are trying to present when it comes to solar energy?
Thank you for that question. The truth of the matter is it is a sustainable source of electricity and is very reliable. One thing that is very important for you to enjoy whatever setup you have, whatever solution you have acquired, is you have to engage a consultant. It's very important in choosing the firm that is putting you on board. It's very important. When you engage a consultant, they will know how to help you acquire quality products. So when you acquire quality products, then you definitely going to enjoy whatever you, because for example, before the advent of lithium batteries pack up within 3 to 5 years, 5 years maximum. But today we have lithium-ion batteries that has 10 years warranty. And if you have 10 years warranty on a particular product, that means an average of 20 years you can still have your backup running. Solar panels last between 20 to 25 years. So it works. And like I said earlier on, in a place like Nigeria where we have high sun intensity, it works even better. So it is available. Ours is just to harness it.
The products that you were talking about, are they locally made, or are they the ones that we import, basically, maybe from China or some other parts of the world?
Well, as at today, production in itself are still not galvanized so much in Nigeria. So we still rely majorly on importation. But many of these things can easily be assembled here. Now we assemble lithium batteries in Nigeria. Solar panels are being produced in Nigeria. Fine, the raw products might be imported. So there are something we can bring in the raw materials and also just assemble here in Nigeria for the populace to benefit from.
All right, let me take you on this question just before we get to our break. If you had 5 million, for instance, to invest in power for your business, should you really go for the solar tech, or should you really look at what is already working in the market, go for a generator, make sure it's something very powerful that can power your business? Which would you advise that somebody who has 5 million right now should really focus on? I mean, 5 million is a lot when it comes to this nation as we speak. So if one was to make that business decision when it comes to energy for business, what would you advise in the real sense? I mean, in real sense.
I think in the real sense, you would rather have what will stop taking from you. The truth of the matter is, when you divert that 5 million naira into the purchase of generator, what you will get in the market is probably a generator capacity, a diesel generator capacity between 12 and 15 kVA diesel generator. And you tend to spend nothing less than 15, average of 15, if you run it every day, for instance, you tend to spend about 15,000 naira every day to run it on fuel. On a monthly basis, you spend close to 400,000. And when we talk about an annual expenditure, you will have spent close to 5 million naira. That is the almost or double the amount you've used in purchasing the generator. Whereas if you divert the exact amount to solar system or a solar power setup, the only maintenance you would probably have to do if you've engaged a consultant is probably just cleaning of the panels. So the cost of spare parts, the cost of fueling that will add up to the cost by which you have spent on the purchase of generator will not be there if you have gone for solar system. So let's say by next year, 2026, August 2026, you would have spent double of the amount you spend on the generator. And if you have used that on solar power system, that wouldn't happen. So definitely that answers that.
You're watching The Beam, a place where the old is reckoned with, the future is interrogated, and power is held to purpose. Stay with us. We'll be right back.